Welcome into the Wacky Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Skinny Penis, joined today with my co-host,
White Lightning. And today we have another very special guest.
My name is Jeff.
What's up, fellas? Pepster18 here. Thank you, Titty Nipple, for having me on the show today. One of my favorite channels, you and Markiplier.
Thank you for joining us. And, it really warms my heart to hear that we're up with the likes of Marky Moo. He's been a big inspiration.
You guys have a classic, like, Ping Pong Panic.
Well, be on the lookout because after this podcast series is done, we might just be playing Five Nights at Freddy's on the channel.
That may be in the works here. So be sure to keep your eye out for that. I mean, that picture is just so true. Let's get into it, though. We got a week 4 recap. Let's go take a look at what happened this past week.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
So I will just preface that that picture of me on the left is from a Diddy party that I was forced to go to. That smile is just because I was drugged up. And this team is because I am drugged up. It kind of sucks. But Ian take me down pretty handily. We both had a player score 0.
What player was that?
Well, for Ian, it was Rashee Rice. His quarterback was stupid enough to take out his knee, and for me, it was Mark Andrews.
Wait, how did you acquire Mark Andrews? You didn't draft him.
I think I did, actually, if I'm rewriting history right.
Okay.
I picked up Trey Tucker. He did pretty good. He might be pretty good if Devontae gets traded. Ian had no Devontae this week, or Devontae Smith, and he
there was
still. Oh, go ahead.
There was a part in that game where you were actually putting up, but then he had a couple players kind of help pull away at the end. So I thought you had a chance for like half the game, and then it kind of became a blowout.
Kyler looked good and then stopped looking good and just stopped at 10 points on the dot and didn't run for some reason. Mario Douglas, I mean, nobody wants to start him nowadays. And then, on the inside, I mean, just studs all around. Kamara, 24 points. Deontay Johnson was a competent quarterback.
Breece Hall.
Yeah, Breece Hall. Ken Walker with a huge 33-pointer on Monday night helped solidify the win. Moving on to our next matchup. We got Nadio here.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy.
Yeah, it was a pretty stinky game, not gonna lie.
This was worse. This was worse than your matchup with Garrett. This was pathetic.
It was a dud off.
The worst part is I could have won if I would have started Tony Pollard over Cam Akers.
Well,
I should have.
I edited that picture of Patrick clenching his cheeks because that was me on Monday when DK had a chance. He really tried to give you a chance, and Achane and Tyreek Hill both kind of.
DK went down at the 1 yard line. If he gets in the end zone,
yeah, if he got in the end zone and didn't fumble, you would have been the victor.
I can't be mad at him though because he is the only player on my team that put up a respectable week.
Godwin did good.
You traded for DK, right? You traded with Luis?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, when you trade for the guy that trade with the guy that traded for Mark Andrews, you're gonna be sitting pretty.
That's facts.
All right. Well, I'm getting roasted enough here. Moving on to the next matchup. We got the Ayahuasca Assassins versus Zack with a C, the Twin City Gritty Committee. And, first dub of the year. Going back to the last slide, first dub of the year for Aaron, first dub of the year for Garrett here. His team looked competent, like very competent.
Hey, Devontae Adams requested a trade. Jacoby is going to take over. My prediction last week is It's looking more likely
What was your prediction last week?
that Devontae Adams gets traded. Cooper Kupp
Right.
sucks. And
Oh, yeah.
Garrett finishes ahead of Ian in the standings.
Yeah, his fan fiction from last week.
Forgot about that. Over on Zach's side. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nick Chubb is also back at practice,
Yeah.
meaning
he
that
is.
Garrett could have the Chubb running back duo very soon.
Coming up.
Yeah,
Over on the
Garrett's
other
did
side?
put up a very good week. I don't think Justice Hill is going to do that every week, though.
Probably not. And Zach brought up Chuba, but their rookie running back is going to return soon as well. So time's kind of running up on him. Maybe. I mean, he has been performing pretty good. I can't imagine that they just hand the ball to Jonathan Brooks right away, but they did draft him for a reason. And
They
then
got
over on
to
Zach's
come
side,
back.
yeah, he's going to need some time. Oh, so will Chubb, though.
True.
But over on Zach's side, Jaden Daniels, pretty good. Of course, his running backs, that's some of the grossest running back play I've ever seen.
That's
everyone
the
else-
thing. It's a very predictable week because Zach's team is pretty damn good, but
Except
he's
running
got the
backs.
worst running backs. Yeah, it's rough. The receivers are crazy though. Good tight ends. Rookie QB who's looking incredible. But
And where did he draft him? I think it was like the second round.
Carson Steele with negative points. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it looks like his time is probably up as starting running back as well. So it's only going to get worse for Zach at the running back spot. Moving on to our next matchup here. We got Amstrad 9 versus I Love Women. Thank you for the clarification. Let's start with Paul. Some very, very good weeks. Some very, very high players with a couple of low players. But, I mean, 150 on the week. You take that every time.
Yeah. Kelsey is back. Jordan Mason
Yes.
looks like a stud.
And he's going to be there for a long time this year.
Ayuk is pretty gross. I wouldn't want him on my team.
Neither would I. ETN got hurt. Still scored 7 on 60 rushing yards. That's pretty good.
For Tim, a rare shit week from Josh Allen. He must have heard our comments on the last couple podcasts, and I think we got in his head a little bit.
Yeah, suspension incoming. I mean, this is back-to-back dud weeks from Josh Allen. Last week he only put up like 10. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I can't really exactly remember, but I know his second week out of 4 that he just put up 10 or less, and that's not the numbers we're used to seeing from him. But other than that, I mean,
Derrick
go
Henry
ahead.
almost gave him a shot that this week. But
He's
I
trying
mean,
his
he
games.
just dropping 150 is like almost impossible to come back from. But he had the shot for a little bit. If Josh Allen did something, he would have been in this game.
Yeah, Derek and Nico did their best to keep him in it.
In Conklin.
And Conklin.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Catch the Energy, aka Chris, versus TEU, aka Cade. And Cade pulls out a big dub against Chris, who's been riding high in these last few weeks too. Score of 133.72 to 117.18. Chris's side, it just nothing magical. Malik got hurt with still 23 points. Don't get me wrong, that is magical, but he needed a few more this week. Burrow, average. Connor, pretty good game. Chase, okay. Bowers, okay. Pickens, okay. Just okay all around. And then on Cade's side, just better, okay, I guess. Putting up a few more points. Brian Robinson might be hurt. He did do the B-Rob combo. You got to appreciate that.
Nothing like it in sports.
Everyone cheers for it. But he is going to be hurt this next week. He might be out. So Cade's going to have to find another running back replacement, not named David Montgomery. See who's on by. And could you someone explain this picture in the bottom right? Why is Murr from Impractical Jokers here?
He just reminds me of Cade, and Cade's getting married this weekend. Congrats, Cade. I'll be there. I'm gonna embarrass you somehow. But he reminds me of Murr from Impractical Jokers, and I remember Murr got married to Sal's sister.
Wow.
And I thought it was pretty fitting.
Aaron, anything you'd like to say to Cade?
You know what? Good luck on the wedding. I might show up. He had a good week in fantasy. He's got a good team, so that's all I gotta say on that.
And Cade, I'd just like to say congrats on getting married. Just a reminder to have a plunger by the toilet. I will be there. Moving on to our next matchup here. Oh, yeah, that was the last matchup. We just got a quote now from a previous NFL matchup. This is from Jordan Love. They beat me. They're that good right now. They're that hot. I just tip my hat and call the Vikings my daddy. Straight from Jordan Love's mouth. And with that, we're going to lead into the Week 5 waiver wire. A pretty lackluster weekend. So I'm going to kind of rapid fire, maybe let us talk about some key ones at the end. Gus Edwards for $0 from Zach, dropped Blake Watson. Zach Ertz for Garrett, dropped Hunter Henry. Imari DiMarcado from Zach, he just got dropped. Trey Tucker to me, actually kind of worked out.
I actually do like that pickup.
Kind of got lucky. Another, we were just bringing him up. Another shout out to Cade. It was during the drive home from the cabin that he told me that I should pick up Trey Tucker if Devontae gets traded. So I did. Had an extra lineup spot or another bench spot, and he ended up working out. So thank you, Cade. Alan Lazard to Garrett. He eventually dropped Lazard too, but he dropped Josh Reynolds for him. The Conk to Tim, dropped Brandon Strange. Tyler Johnson was dropped by Garrett. And then into the actual waiver wire. Poo-Poo, Smith Poopster, was picked up by Paul for $0. No one else put in a bid. Aaron, go ahead. You got this one.
Juju could start getting work with Rashid Ricekin now. So I get his thought process on that one.
He's a good dancer too.
Very good.
I bid for Cade on, got him for $25. Outbid him by $4. But we'll get into that later too. There's more on Cade on.
More on Cade Otton later. Garrett picked up Trey Sermon, who might get to start this week and maybe a couple more weeks, depending on JT's injury. Dropped Alan Lazard, like we mentioned. Aaron, you put in also an $11 bid. That's gotta hurt.
JT. But it's priority waivers. I already got Cade Otton, so I went to the bottom and Garrett got him. I got enough running backs.
Good to hear. Zach, you put in the $2 bid. And Cade got. Oh, go ahead.
It was mostly just to keep him away from other people, but I didn't really want to spend money on him.
Fair enough. Andy Dalton to Cade for $0. Ian picked up Ray McLeod. Later dropped him for Alan Lazard. Zach, you dropped Cam Akers after his disappointing performance last week.
Fuck that dude.
And then Will Levis was. I didn't even know Paul had Will Levis. That's strange. That might be a typo. We'll have to just see if it's real. Oh wow! Where'd you guys find this picture of me?
Your orange tie looks good.
Thank you.
I think that's from high school.
Yeah, me too. Let's get into some trades here. Tight end you and the Ayahuasca Assassins, and Garrett, if you're listening, that is how you spell Ayahuasca Assassins. Just a heads up. They make a shocking deal. Kate put Wan'Dale Robinson on the trade block earlier, and Garrett bit, sending him a 2025 third-round pick and a 2026 second-round pick. Both Garrett's own picks. What are your guys' initial thoughts on this? Start with Zach.
It's Wan'Dale. And I don't really love it for either side. But Cade really loved Wan'Dale. He's going to miss him. But also to make Garrett feel a little better, Luis admitted to us before recording that he also did not know how to spell ayahuasca assassins and only spelled it right because of autocorrect.
No. I knew how to spell assassins. I knew how to spell that. I didn't know how to spell ayahuasca.
You know why? Because you're an ass. And
Double
there's
ass,
two of them
baby.
in that word.
Yeah, Garrett. I mean, this is an okay trade. We'll see about Wandale. I don't trust the Giants, but I guess Garrett does. So, Aaron, any thoughts?
I'm pretty sure Cade picked Wando up on waivers a couple weeks ago. Am I correct?
He did. Yep, he did.
It's a great pickup.
So he picked them up and flipped them for a second and a third, which I really like Cade's side of that. Again, I don't trust any Giants receivers, but he has been putting up some decent numbers this year. I'll give him that.
He is getting a lot of targets from Danny Dimes.
I don't
This
know if
year.
that picture is them actually agreeing. Is that Garrett in that picture?
I
It
thought
looks
it
just
was.
like him.
Yeah, they look very similar, and they're dapping up like the like that meme between R.I.P. Carl Weathers and
Arnold.
Arnold. Yeah, I mean Wandale. I mean, if you get rid of week 2, it's pretty bad. You only get 2 targets or 4 targets, 2 receptions. But other than that, 12 targets, 8 targets, 14 targets. Like he's getting the passes to him. He's just not putting up many yards with it. So he's 23. He's a third-year player, so we'll see how it goes. But on to a much more fun and interesting trade. Aaron, I'll let you take this one over.
This happened, what, 30 minutes ago, an hour ago?
Moments ago. We had to add this slide in very recently.
Me and Paul were talking about this all day. We were going back and forth, and we countered twice, and then I countered, and then I saw the trade was accepted. So, basically the framework is Ayuk for Josh Jacobs, and we swap seconds. The other ones were kind of throw-in players. Because I got Cade Otton off of waivers. Will Levis was going to get dropped. And I replayed Cade Otton with Colby Parkinson. And you know what? Josh Jacobs and Brandon Ayuk, they kind of have to prove themselves. They've both been kind of stinky this year.
Couldn't agree more. Zach, any initial thoughts?
It's a pretty fair trade overall, talent-wise. You know, the two main pieces are underperforming stars. I think Aaron won just because he got rid of a Packer and Paul gained a Packer. But I have an official quote here from League bad boy Kate Halverson that says, "The more I think about it, the more fair that trade gets." And I agree. You know, it's a good trade.
I do like it. Aaron, you're getting Ayuk, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I like Ayuk more than Jacobs because he's a wide receiver. I like Bryce a little more than Levis, which is pretty funny to think about. I like Colby a little better than Cade. This is a very, I don't want to take anything away from Paul. This is a very fair trade. I mean, he already dropped Will Levis, but yeah, it's a pretty fair trade. You guys are just swapping those stars. Not too much else to say. Other than that was my face at the bottom left. That was my face when I saw it go through.
Which one?
Yeah, I that was all three
Charlie.
of us.
No, I'm Alan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the 3 of us. I'm Alan. Aaron, you're Pim because you're like mastering the trade. That's your phone. That's the book. And then Zach, you're Charlie.
Yeah.
Who's that on the right?
That's Paul.
Oh, okay.
I was willing to deal running back, so I was starting 2 running backs in my flex. That's not really sustainable. So I'm glad I could get a receiver out of it. Maybe you can turn around, and I get Paul's side of it. Josh Jacobs could be really good, especially when Jordan Love comes back fully healthy.
Paul needed a running back. he's got some pretty good wide receivers too.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the power rankings for this week. If you guys look on a lot of power rankings for the NFL, the Vikings are number one. That's pretty cool. I think they did something big this week. Couldn't really tell you though. Not a huge fan. Power rankings, they don't change much week to week, but we're still showing them anyways. After this week, I'm not gonna lie, I might be below the Ayahuasca Assassins for a starter rank. I think that's a very real possibility.
You think Wandell really dragged him up that much?
No, I just think his team is maybe slightly better than mine. I haven't put up nearly that many points in a single week. I don't see it happening anytime soon. We got the 3-1. Oh, go ahead.
It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous that I am number 3 in starter rank. I just scored 80 points.
You still have a really good team.
We'll see. Pat Mahomes he's playing like Jackson right now.
He is indeed. I mean, you're up there at 1-3, and then Zach with a C is down here at 3-1. So anything is possible. Anything else you guys want to say about this? Or I don't have too much to say about that.
A lot of people moved to Frisky this week. Only 3 contenders now. But not a lot has changed, really.
The 1-3 contender.
You deserve to be up there.
There's a lot of 1-3 and 2.
You know why?
You just have
Because I beat Kane. That was my Super Bowl.
That was the Super Bowl for real. All right, we got some Week 5 predictions.
What is it?
Fanboy.
I watched that show. That was one of my favorite shows.
That picture must just be in there by accident. It's just a picture of Fanboy and Chum Chum.
It's one of my favorite movies on the left.
It was a great theme song in it.
Can you sing it for us?
My vocal cords aren't the best right now.
No, that makes sense. Let's do it. Let's get into these predictions here. So something new I'm introducing. I'm putting last week's records next to it. See how you did last week, and then the parentheses are all time. So I'm 4-1 last week, but I'm 9 of 11 total. And Zach 3-2 last week, 11-9 total. We didn't have any guests last week, but as a whole, they're 7-3. So if you're gonna listen to anyone, I'd listen to Aaron. But let's run through these. The first game, pretty quick. I don't know if there's much to say, unless Paul's team puts up 70 something. My team ain't winning.
Even then, he's still got a good shot.
Oh yeah, very very good shot. Let's just move on to the next one. The next one's a lot more interesting. Zach versus Chris. Zach with a K.
I'm gonna lose. I picked myself, but I'm not very confident.
That should be a good game. I think you'll win that. You still have really good starters, so.
I am benching Tyreek Hill this week.
That's a smart move. I'm not even trying to say
Make
that
him earn
sarcastically.
Yeah.
Aaron versus Garrett. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't want to say what I was about to say.
You're welcome. I cut you off.
Thank you.
So then we got Aaron versus Garrett. A lot of us think Aaron's going to win. Pretty much all of us.
I think Garrett will still have a shot because my team stunk it up last week. I luckily won. And when my team goes off, the other team always goes off. So
I think Garrett's team is about to slowly get better and better each week.
Yeah, his team always gives him a shot every week. So
I'll take the first overall pick this year. Moving on to Ian v. Zach. I picked Zach here with a C. Just to be funny. He's got a shot. His team is really good. He just needs running backs.
If Singletary plays and pops off, I think he'll beat Ian. But I don't know if either of those things will happen.
Yeah, Ian's just got a well-built team. Even with Rashid being out, he's got like Kamara or Walker that can slot in the flex for him. So he's sitting pretty.
He
Nothing
definitely
bad
needs
can
a
happen
tight
to
end,
his
though.
team.
He's
Yeah, he
tight
needs-
end desperate.
But he's unwilling to pay up for one. And then we got Cade versus Tim. I picked Tim. This is a rivalry here. This is like a Eagles Cowboys type of rivalry. Cade versus Tim. They used to live together for many, many years. They've made countless trades. Tim went all in, gave Cade Bijan, and I'm just hoping Tim wins. I don't think he will, but I hope he does.
Yeah, it's a toss up. Two teams that can go off or shit the bed any week. Cade's got a lot of people on bye this week, so I think Tim's going to pull it out.
And I'm going to give some live coverage as we're talking here. Sorry to say this, Zach, but Drake London did just catch like a 15-yard touchdown. So not a great start.
Can I change my pick?
It might be a little late. He's already locked in since the
Okay,
game
that's
started.
fine.
And yeah, I think that's the end of.
I
sorry.
think Cade and Tim is matchup of the week. Like you guys said,
Yeah.
both their teams can go off. They both really. I think the most trades have been between those two guys in the league.
Absolutely, I don't
gotta
think it's
be.
even close.
Heavyweight matchup. That's my pick for game of the week. And I got Cade in that. Saquon's on bye, but Cade also has a couple of people on bye.
Among Us and David Montgomery.
Yes.
All right, well, that's the end of the podcast. So, Aaron, is there anything you want to shout out or highlight or any final thoughts before we close it out?
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below. Comment what you want next week. Give us some suggestions. Subscribe to Titty Nipple. Push the like button. Thank you guys for listening.
And don't forget to hit that bell. Zach, any final words?
My name is Markiplier, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!
Here we go.